Hey, everybody. Welcome to Explain It podcast. Our dear Caroline is actually at a seller's appointment right now. So we are waiting for her to jump on. She's running late, as she mentioned to me. She just texted me and said, trying to lock up a deal. Chai, you should come on to the YouTube and we could talk a little bit about your business if you'd like, but you got to come on to the YouTube and I'll send you a link. Anywho, thank you everybody for joining us. Of course, I'm your co-host, Ingryd Hernandez, and we're waiting for Caroline Cain. We have been talking a little bit on my Instagram about an eviction process that I'm trying to avoid. So who out there has had any eviction experience? I would love to hear your take. So, hey, Arnulfo Saucedo. Hopefully, I said your name right. Good afternoon. So, my situation right now is that, oh, sorry, what does it say? Are you and Pace's more resub to group? Is it worth it? Yes, William, I am, and it has been worth it. Yeah, Chai, come to YouTube, Chai, and then I'll send you a link to come on to the actual stream. I'll send you the link. So, anywho, let me see. So, in Tucson, sorry, I had some people on Instagram trying to get them to come over to YouTube where this is actually live. But I bought a property in Tucson. Originally, we were fixing and flipping it. And then the market shifted. And I was like, man, do I want to take another big hit or should we just do what we can to keep this property? Will Ingryd 5 years from now be happy that I kept this property versus the Ingryd now? Like, that's actually a measurement I give myself around properties that we keep, because this property, we have fixed it quite a bit. We fixed the plumbing, like even the plumbing that goes out to the sewer. We fixed, we gutted. It was a full gut that we fixed up. And so knowing that we've done so much to it, we're like, is it really worth losing out on this deal? And instead we kept it. We did what was called a cash in refi, meaning in order to refinance, we actually had to put in money. So if you're following like the Burr method, you're usually trying to buy it low enough so that when you refinance it, you're not having to, or like you get all your money back out and you hold it as an asset. Well, in this scenario, that wasn't the case. I literally had to put money in just to refi. So, as such, was the case. And doing so, we did catch the market with the interest rate kind of high. So, my mortgage for this property is around 30. It's going up now because of the tax reevaluation. So, it's going to be around $3,400. We were able to rent it out to a group home operator who was paying $4,500 a month. And is that a huge cash flow at the end of the day? Not entirely, but it was covering the mortgage. We were setting money aside. This property did have some other things happen to it while we were holding. That's why, like, you really need to have strong reserves if you're going to hold property. And that was the case with this property. But yeah, so I had to make an uncomfortable call today because we had been trying to get a hold of the current person managing the house, and they had not been very available. But because my cousin was the person who was primarily in contact with them, they knew his number. And I really think because I called and the number was completely different, they answered. So I caught them off guard, talked to them and said, hey, we don't want to go through an eviction process. We don't want to go through a legal process. Chai, I'm going to put the link in the comments. So come on down. We don't want to go through that whole scenario. What can we come into an agreement? So they've agreed to leave the property by Sunday, be completely out, and I won't take eviction or legal action for the balance that they haven't paid. The only reason I even knew anything was happening was because they missed payment. They missed their rent on, and they were not people who paid on the 1st. They paid on the 18th or 17th, and so I said, okay, well, how about this? You give up your security deposit and you have to be out by Sunday. And as a result of that, then you don't, we won't take any legal action. And then of course, I put it on paper. I sent an email to acknowledge. At the end of the day, the primary person who actually held the lease, they were taken to jail because they violated their probation, or probation, parole, however that works, probation. And so as a result, technically they've already kind of broken the lease by not staying in good status as a good citizen of Tucson. So we're within our boundaries to break the lease with them, and the lease was coming up due anyway, so we just told them we're not going to renew. You didn't pay, so here's the circumstances, and that's how they agreed. So that's the route we took. Hey Ty, are you coming on? I sent you the link so that we could talk a little bit about your event that you had this past weekend in Houston. I unfortunately could not make it. Would have loved to come out to Houston though. And then tell us a little bit about what the folks learned. And if you guys are out there, would love to understand if you guys have questions. Oh, there's my friend Chai. Here's a comment. He probably ran to his studio. Hi, Chai.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just trying to head down to the gym and I saw you pop up and I was like, let's go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll get a workout here, but a real estate workout.
Yes.
So tell me, how did your event go?
Oh man, event was like so much better than what I thought. I initially felt like again, this was my first event, so I was happy with like 35 people, but we ended up like doing almost over 100. I was like insane. People are still signing up after the event for recording.
Really?
I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not used to that attention, so it was pretty cool.
Oh, you're used to the attention. Well,
You
good
are
for you,
you will
Chai.
get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Let's
not. I'm
also
sorry. I meant to say you should do the event.
well, how about we do an event like that here in Arizona?
We should.
Yeah.
I'm down for it. I want
When
to do an event personally, like about underwriting, like underwriting workshops, and then
mm,
see where it goes. Maybe a 1 day workshop, a small fee, like just to have an event space and stuff, and see where it takes. And so all these attendees that attend at PML, they're gonna do a 12-week underwriting session with me every like once a week. We have a Saturday call.
mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I'm gonna test my products on them and see how I can systemize my underwriting product. Underwriting offering, and see how that goes and how people like it.
I
Anyways,
love
what's going on with you? Sounds like you got a badass deal. You were
it.
talking.
No, well, let's recap. First of all, you had an event for private money lenders, and what was the objection, or like what were you trying to accomplish with that? With that?
So here is what I was telling everyone. Like this money, like this event is not about making money by having events. Like that's not the goal. In fact, after the event, we got 3 new loans. That's where we really make money. Right? So event is about having people together, teaching them what we know, so maybe they can see opportunities. So for example, someone approached you with a house and you can't come to an agreement and you can't get a deal done between you and the wholesaler somehow. But instead of letting that wholesaler go to someone else, now you can tell the wholesaler, look, how about I empower you to make this wholesale into a wholesale? And then you can insert yourself into that partnership that way. Instead of, let's say, I mean, a wholesale deal is going to require an assignment.
Uh-huh.
That assignment can be 30 grand or 20 grand. And if you are set on paying 20 and the person expects 30, now you don't have a deal. Instead, you can say, hey, how about we don't take the assignment, and I put money in as a gap funder, and I bring in this lender who helps or supports the wholesale methodology. Or, I mean, you don't have to come to me, but I'm just saying any lender you approach, they're going to be able to fund the deal. And if they can make 20 grand or 30 grand assignment, they can definitely make 50 or 60 just wholesaling it, not even flipping it. So there is that much room. By doing that, you can probably pay the wholesaler instead of 20, you can get them to 30 or even 35, and you can still make 15, 20 on top. So
Okay.
that is the type of knowledge that needs to be more available, which is not. Currently, no lender is teaching the secrets or secret sauce of lending, really. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the real opportunity is, in teaching and in building a community around PML.
So what I'm hearing you say is that these wholesale deals that we could possibly go after, rather than wholesaling them, actually take them down by
Yep.
doing by leveraging private money lending like what you have to offer,
Yes.
and then going on market, meaning going on MLS.
And you
So,
could be the PML if you want, or you, if you don't have access to funds, you can bring me into that deal, and you can just be the gap funder, and you
yeah,
can insert yourself in some sort of equity partnership.
yeah. So I'm hearing a lot more big time real estate wholesalers talk about this quite a bit. I think especially as certain states make wholesaling illegal, or there's some debate now where in South Carolina they're like it's illegal, but now it's not really illegal because the language they use kind of made it. So at the end of the day, um, NAR and these big time associations are just going to make people have to jump through hoops
Oh yeah.
to be able to do things like sell, like put equity interest into
Until
property.
you start sharing what you're making with them, they're not gonna pull back. And they're gonna
Yeah,
keep going.
they want you to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
One, and then two, they want you to use agents.
Yeah.
So that mean, and let's be real, everybody. And I just saw this comment where it said, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to do real estate, and I've been watching real estate content for years. I will say, uh, at the end of the day, most deals are done on the MLS. I don't care what people tell you, how much is happening off market, how much everywhere else. I think I heard this statistic, anywhere between 70 and 85% of deals that happen across the nation are happening on MLS. Everything else is those off markets, right? Like your
Oh, yeah.
investor lift deals, your things that get syndicated through other platforms other than MLS. But the lion's share happens on MLS.
Oh, yeah.
So very steady. Since I don't know what you've done at this point in real estate, I don't know what advice to give you, but if you follow like Caroline, my co-host who is stuck at a seller appointment right now, you can do things. You have to take action. Like here's the real deal about real estate. You're not going to make any money in real estate if all you do is watch content. You have to
Yeah.
actually take some action, do some deals. And then what Chai is proposing is another way of making money. And Pace Morby has said this a lot. The tough part about real estate is how many ways you can actually make money.
Money,
And
yeah.
so people get overwhelmed with all the ways that you could do this. I think the hardest part is focusing, like figuring out a very specific path and just staying on that path until you're comfortable enough with your skills where then you can expand more energy elsewhere. Which is why I'm very proud of Caroline right now. She's
I
focusing on
would,
door knocking and door knocking only. So
oh yeah. No, this is so. So I was just talking to one of my, I mean, one of my cousin's son who just graduated from grad school, and he has a finance major, so he's going to go work for homestay. So it was pretty exciting. Oh, I mean, most like Indian kids who come here, they usually like do some sort of engineering major. And I mean, I
Mhm.
thought it was one of those boring calls, but it turned out to be something in real estate. And I was pretty excited talking to this guy. What I told him is, if you just watch like one piece of content or follow one person or one group of people and just jump into that right away just because you haven't seen enough. So there is like from that to analysis paralysis, like that's
Mhm.
the whole spectrum. So where you stop and take action and come back and like consume like more information, that's the challenge. Like, and that's what makes it cool that some people jump in so early that they later regret it, or they hit it out of the park. You don't know. Maybe you'll stumble upon something that you are going to like for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So it's
It's interesting because Caroline's like, your first deal shouldn't be a flip. And I was like, oops.
yeah.
My first deal was a flip. My first deal was a virtual flip.
Oh my
So
god.
I got very, very
Did
lucky.
you, did you make money?
I made 54,000 net.
Holy cow, that's insane. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Where was it?
It was in Las Vegas. And I've told the story on here before. I accidentally underwrote it against the wrong property.
Oh my god.
So in Zillow, the picture was on the other side of the street. And
Oh
so I
my
was seeing the back, not the front. And so I was underwriting it against other
property.
properties that were built in like the 90s. But this property was a manufactured home on the
Ooh.
other side. Luckily, the lot was big and I was able to leverage all
Yeah.
that. So, like it, I actually made just as much money as I thought we were gonna make, but it was kind of interesting because I was like, oh my
Nice.
God, I totally effed that up and I still made money. Thank God.
Yeah.
But anywho, well, Arnulfo has a question. They said if the property's not selling when you get it under contract, what changes when you buy the property and relist it? What am I missing here?
I mean, really, if it's not selling when you get it under contract, I mean, first of all, when you get it under contract, you cannot list it, in my opinion. But let's say they were able to let you list it and it's not selling it where you want it to sell, but you still have it under contract at a better price, maybe the backup is to what changes when you buy the property and relist it. I mean, you can buy it and relist it at a lower price if you, and then target a different type of buyer, such as a buy and hold buyer, an investor buyer versus a homestead buyer. The question is a little bit confusing in a way where when you have it under contract and it's not selling, what do you have it under contract at? If you have it under contract at less than 70%, it should definitely sell in with multiple exit strategies. If you're buying it too high, then you should not be closing it. Forget about relisting it, because there won't be any spread when you, if you're buying it over 90% and then list it on the market, it's gonna, I mean, when you sell it on the market, you're going to pay almost 8% in commission and fees, and then a couple percent will go away in the holding cost. So it all depends on where you buy it at, like what
Yeah.
loan, I'm sorry,
So you
price.
you always make your money on the buy. At the end of the day, if you buy low enough, it can save you, it can make you, it can break you. So it's important for you to make sure that you're buying. So Arnulfo, I think the one aspect that maybe we're missing here, if you're buying under contract, or if you're buying a property that's on MLS already and then you're relisting it, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about off market deals that you buy instead of just wholesale and then you list them. So this is a property where you've not it's never been listed on MLS. It's off market, and you're pushing your margins even further on the, we'll call it assignment, but technically you're the owner. You're the owner and you're putting it on the market. You're just not just wholesaling it. You're leveraging MLS to bring it to
All
the
right.
people. And the reality is, especially for for properties that are below the median price, they are on high demand.
Yeah.
So if you know what your market median price point is in Arizona, it's 400, between 420 and 430.
Yeah.
So if you're listing in that range, those houses aren't staying very long, especially if they're in good condition. So you just have to know that. Like if you're going to contract something off market, you still have to have significant margin, and anything below that median price point should move quicker on MLS. Why? Because all eyes are on MLS. That's what actually gets sent to Zillow, what gets sent to Realtor.com, to Redfin, to all the big syndicating platforms. They all have some relationship with MLS as they get syndicated out. So
Yeah. And one of the things that we were talking about earlier is we are talking about a scenario when wholesaler, for example, I'm the wholesaler, I'm trying to sell a property to Ingryd. I have it under contract at 70,000 and I'm trying to sell it to Ingryd at 100,000 and it's worth maybe 170,000.
yeah,
He's only able to pay me 90 based on her math. So we cannot come to an agreement here. So that's when we can take it down together and list it on the market for as is sale, which is wholesale. So in that scenario, Ingrid being the investor, she has to go by her rules of whatever she goes by 70% minus repairs or 75% minus repairs. But when you list it on MLS, you expose that property to a whole bunch of people, including investors, homestead buyers. I mean, you can call it a handyman special for someone who wants to move in and they fix it themselves. So they would be able to pay you over 80% minus repairs. Easy.
yeah.
Even up to 85, I've seen people pay.
And
So,
that's why underwriting is extremely important. And I think that that's sort of what Chai was alluding to, that you have to know your numbers if you're going to take this approach. Would you have an opportunity to make a lot more money? 100%. But it also means you have to know how to calculate your buys so that you're maximizing your assignment fees, which really means how much money you'll make, because it's not an assignment.
yeah.
You're taking it down, you're becoming the owner, and then that is what and then
And,
you're on
and
MLS.
one like fun fact about wholesale is a lot of times you have these like properties that you have locked up. Say it's worth 200,000, you locked it up for 120, and I mean the rehab is like 10 grand or whatever. So you
Mhm.
can make 10, $20,000 assignment, but when it's such a small rehab, we call it a lipstick rehab or really just clean up and then list it. So the house doesn't really need a lot of work. In those scenarios, you can go from like instead of selling the 120 contract for 140, you could go from 120 and list it all the way to 190 if you have to. So because it's only a cleanup project, but investors not going to take risk below, I mean, above certain formula they go by. Because
Mhm.
the risk is what they manage in their business. Everybody does. So I feel like those lipstick rehabs or cleanups, those are the best hotels. That's where you can hit it out of the park.
Totally. And I would say um, speed to market. So the goal here is to get it, clean it, put it on market.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's those properties that, you can't have like a huge hole in the roof, you
Yeah.
know. These are properties that are like maybe not the prettiest properties, but they're livable. Uh,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
arguably
Yeah.
rentable. Mhm.
Most everything in the house is functioning, even if
Yeah.
it's dated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's functioning, it's just dated. Exactly, exactly. And then, Pansy, you asked your question, like, what was your position in the deal? So when you're buying these properties, you're buying them at such a low price point that you just get a lender for the first position.
Yes.
So you still need to do title research, make sure that there's no crazy liens outstanding, and if there are, that your offer covers it all, so that then this one private money lending scenario would then be just sitting in first position, meaning it's the only debt assigned to that house. And hi out there, Julie Burkhardt, I see you.
Julie, how are you?
Yeah, I see her out there. And then let's see here. Very Steady is asking thoughts on tax delinquent properties. Is
Oh,
that
I love them. I love it so much. This is
tell
how
me?
I started. That's
Yeah,
how I started. There was a website called Agent Pro or something. I don't know if anybody even remembers that website. Most people I talk to, they didn't even know that. And Agent Pro, I may be completely wrong, but that website had these tax delinquent records. I pulled 300 records when I first started. Someone told me, I mean, you can go to list source or you can go to tax delinquent where it's already like you know what the distress factor is. And this was 2015. I sent out 300 letters, and sure enough, like I got 10 calls, 3 appointments, one closing, and 3 years later, I ended up making 90 grand on that property. And I
wow.
was like, what is this thing? Like, I mean, this is, I used to spend $300 on a poker night every week. And I was like, what if I sacrifice my poker night and just use this 300 to, that's why the 300 number came, that's where the $300 number came from. But today with Facebook groups and like people have mastered way different strategies, but tax delinquent is one thing that if you can go after people that are delinquent for over 2 3 years, you know for sure they have some sort of distress or it's coming up. So all you have to do is go call these people, either if you're cold calling or sending letters, I don't know. But whatever you're doing, do it consistently. Keep in touch with them, and one day they are gonna that strategy is always gonna pay off. Like foreclosures, it's like foreclosures basically. You are just
So
catching them way ahead.
this is literally somebody who is likely going to go. Actually, there was a lead that I had. My I sold a house to two of my friends, and they were telling me about this lady who has like a whole bunch of junk in her front yard,
Yeah.
and supposedly she's in pre-foreclosure right now due to her tax delinquency. Not that she didn't pay a mortgage or whatever, because her house is actually free and clear. Um, the house is rat infested, which is crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, how I don't understand how the city hasn't condemned that property and like maybe forcibly made her to sell or to do something with it. Cause I can't imagine being a neighbor and having like that next door to me. Like there's piles of trash, all kinds of stuff. So anywho, so that's what you mean though? It's tax delinquency where like maybe they'll
Well,
even go into a pre-foreclosure because they haven't paid their taxes.
I mean, tax delinquent properties, the fun fact about that is, I mean, when they actually become pre foreclosures, everybody is going to jump on it because at that point, everybody knows that they have to sell. But if you are one of those who has built a rapport with these people before they go to pre foreclosure,
Mhm.
then who do you think they're going to call? They're going to call you.
Not Ghostbusters, they're gonna call
Yeah.
you. That's right.
Because they know, I mean, you are the friend who is going to help in that scenario, not the vultures that's going to prey on the weak.
No, totally. Yeah, yeah. And so the tax delinquency comes up even before the pre-foreclosure process happens.
Yes,
Mm,
because the tax authorities don't usually come after you because it's a small tax bill depending on the state. If you're in Texas, it's huge. I hate that, but
mm.
other places like 1%, 1.5%. Texas is like 3.5%. It's insane.
It's
But
painful.
1% of your property price you haven't paid. I mean, they don't care because you have enough equity. Even if you have a 80% loan, you still have 20% equity. So they can go for 2 3 years before they slap your hands. They're
Mhm.
gonna keep sending you letters, keep following up. But
Yeah.
yeah, so just wait and watch these people. And don't go after people who are like 1 year delinquent, because they may be there, it may be just an error. So like two or more is kind of my sweet spot.
More telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pansy, I did that flip in 2021. So I joined sub 2 January of 2021. I didn't actually start making calls like 8 or 9 months in. And then I got my deal day number 4 of consistently calling.
Wow.
So yeah.
And you called yourself?
Well, we had VAs calling for us.
Okay.
And then I did the follow up on those calls
Okay.
after they raised their hand. Yeah. I did try doing some legit like cold calling too, but like after this deal, I was
Yeah.
like, man, I hate this. I feel really bad for those VAs who like this is their life every day, because that's a really tough job.
Absolutely. I
Um, Hey, Suede, I see you. Yeah, you're with the party people. So Julie says she has a property in Arizona that's a wreck and more than 10 years delinquent. Both owners are dead and this has never been probated. Well, Julie, if you can get a hold of their next of kin or their heirs, I'd be happy to team up with you on that one, especially since I am a fix and flipper out here, if it makes sense. Now, I just closed on a deal out here in Rimrock, Arizona. The rocks never work out for me. Like Round Rock didn't work out for me.
Oh,
Rimrock,
yeah, that was a crazy
that was
one.
awful. So Rimrock, we were supposed to make technically over 75 grand, like the way we underwrote everything, but we had to hold it for so long and make price adjustments so much that we actually walked away with a little over 2K. So
Round Rock, that is?
no, this was in Rimrock. Rimrock here in Arizona, which is like 20 minutes away from Sedona. So we were like, oh, this is a great price point. It's like below 500,000. Like, like it was at that 500,000 mark, which being so close to Sedona is a deal.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
even Zillow was saying our property should have sold for 575. We
What
sold
did,
for 495. So yeah,
what did you buy that?
we bought it at well, it was a lipstick. Like
Okay.
our original cosmetic flip was supposed to be 12 grand,
Oh,
but we had a French drain problem and a wall problem, so our all in on that part was actually more like 25K, but I was like, okay, well, we have room to take care of that. So
you.
our budget doubled for cosmetics, so right 12K to 25K. And then at the end of the day, it was just bad timing. I think if we had gone to market with the property in like April, May, it would have been way better than when we went to market, which was in January.
Oh,
Um, so
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I hate the time between, especially between October and end of January, mid February.
yeah,
After that, things kind of start picking up.
totally, absolutely. Somebody on Instagram asked me, what list did you call? So the list that I called where I got my first deal, that actually was an HOA delinquency. Like HOA was sending them to pre-foreclosure. So
Wow.
I just got them at the right time. So, and then Pansy wants to know, Chai, what's the conversation like with somebody who is a tax delinquent owner?
I mean, you want to take it slow with them. I mean, you don't push them. You just tell them, hey, look, I'm an investor in the area. I just noticed, and just be straight with them. I noticed you're not paying taxes. Is there anything I can help you with? There is different options. I mean, we can at least meet and see um, if we can come to an agreement on a price if you're interested in selling, or we can just stay in touch maybe 3 months, 6 months down the road if you want to consider selling. I'm here for you. So, and just hire a VA and just touch base with them like every 3 months, 6 months. Literally, I have a property. One of my tenants is vacating it tomorrow. So it's like fresh in my mind. This property is worth maybe like 260 to 70. We got it at 110 like 2 years ago. It's a steady rental. But at that time, we I got a call from this seller and she's like, hey, I have to give you this, that you guys are freaking consistent as like on the dot, like every time. And I didn't understand what she meant. She's like, your assistant called me every 15 days for the last 2 years on the same day, same time, and I never picked up her call. It was always a missed call. But I had talked to this lady like 2 years ago, and I had left notes in my system that she is gonna sell it one day. I don't know when. And she let that property like rot until like she sold it to me, but she did sell it to me. We could have made like 30, 40 grand assignment on it, but we ended up keeping it. But that's the power of, I mean, building relationships. And this is not the first time this has happened. Like this has happened many times. Like this is just fresh in my I mean, on my in my notes today, because we are talking about it. But that's what you need to do with tax delinquent. Just have patience, because your life may be different 2 years later, but you're still gonna get all this like snowball effect, because
Yeah.
after 6 months you will have at least 100 people you're following up with that are saying, yes, I'm going to sell 3 months later, 6 months later, 1 year later. So, and once that follow up funnel builds up, then they all start falling and converting.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. So I like to call it pile up the pipe, right?
yep,
Like your pipeline has to get piled up. Like
yep.
you need to build that pipeline. And so if you haven't consistently done any one method for at least 90 days, then your pipeline's probably not piled up enough.
100%.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If you
And then
were to start wholesaling today, it's going to take exactly 90 days before you see a deal. Almost.
and you have to have enough contacts, you have to have enough conversations, you have to have enough momentum. So if
Yep.
you're not doing that for enough time in those 90 days, then that timeline just keeps extending for you. Julie did say, I have a property in AZ. She said that already. I'm sorry. And then she wrote, trying to figure out how to get it by paying off the tax liens. Like being their lender, Julie. Happy to have that conversation with you. I'll even put the link in the chat if you want to join us.
So
I trying to better understand.
I think this is a good topic you might wanna discuss with Scott, because there may be an option you can buy out one of the liens, or I mean, that way you don't have to go through all this affidavit or whatever. I mean, if there is a chance you could buy a tax lien somehow.
Out here in Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are. So Scott just opened a title company. I don't know if you knew
Scott
that.
Horn. Yep. Mm-hmm.
There, so he might know a thing or two about. He does tax lien class in here. I mean, Texas for sure.
Mhm.
I didn't know he. I mean, if he'd be a good help there, but if not him, then at least connect with Liz. Liz is his partner in Arizona. Title.
Liz Lopez.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Chai's on the first name basis with all these people, so I got you guys. I understand what he was actually trying to say. So, but Julie said it's probably not much of a place now. I knew the owners. I've tried contacting their heirs. Well, again, Julie, happy to partner up with you to see if maybe we can help you, since we are boots on the ground here in Arizona. And if I'm being honest with you, the uglier the house, the bigger the checks. I mean, that's
always
the truth of how it generally works. But Suede apparently is having the same situation. There's no family, no one will do anything. You need to figure out how to get it. Let's talk, Suede, because we have a couple of probate attorneys that we can work with to see how we might be able to work it out. And with us, look, there's Julie.
What's up, Julie?
Hey, how's it going, Chai? Hi, Ingrid.
How are you?
We missed you at the
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, sorry. I got some kind of weird echo.
Oh, you sound great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to be at that. I wanted to be at that thing in Texas, but I wasn't able to get there. So
hopefully next one.
Next
Julie, I'm
one,
trying
hopefully.
to convince Chai to have his next event here in Arizona so that way I can
Ooh, that'd be
partake.
awesome. In the
Yeah.
winter.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
next winter.
I want to go west. Prakash is set on Carolinas. I don't know. But again, we get a lot of business in Carolinas, and Carolinas are so good. Like everything, like goes like, I mean, moves so fast. So the turns are much more every year. So and every PML should like turns. If you want to make more points on your money, money needs to turn faster.
Yeah. So Julie,
Awesome.
you used to know the family that owned this property, and so now you're trying to figure out how to kind of untether who might
It's so
actually be.
crazy. I
Mhm.
might have talked to you about this before, but it's like it's this little tiny property, and it could be a cute little house. And it's in the town where we winter, and we knew the owners. They've both been gone now for like 10 years, and the
Mm.
house has been sitting there all this time. The daughter lives in Tucson, and I've tried and tried and tried to get a hold of her. I've sent letters. I've tried calling, just trying to skip trace. But what I did find out was that at least at one point, the property that the daughter owns was also tax delinquent. And I went on Google and figured out where it was, and that was a manufactured home. But the upshot is I looked at the tax liens on it, and so you know how Arizona is, and this is Pima County. It's sold. They sell them in lots. So I know that whoever has bought these tax liens over the years has just bought them with whatever other bunch of tax liens they bought, and the house is not worth going after. It's not worth it to them to go after it, I'm sure. And so, but the estate has never been probated. Not that there was anything to probate necessarily, but that house has some value, or at least it did have at one point. So I just was trying to figure out how I could. You mentioned you could buy out the other lien holders, the tax lien holders, and so I did look up who there was like two different ones on that property, and maybe there's more by now. I don't know, but it was just kind of, I don't know. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this little house, but I've been trying to figure it out.
Where in Arizona is it?
It's in a little town called Ajo.
Oh,
Oh, we pass by Ajo every time we go down to
To
Rocky
go to
Point.
Rocky Point, yeah,
Hmm.
you go through my town.
Yeah, right on. It's got some cuteness to a few of those houses. I don't know if I could own an Ajo. It's a little further out, but
Yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, it's great if you want to be there in the wintertime, but
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, I
anyway,
hear you. Well, we can definitely see how we can help you maybe put a little bit more effort in finding the daughter if you feel it's worth the effort. Sometimes you
it
have
kind of
to,
just
yeah.
yeah, it depends on what the tax liens might be, which I can't think that they're that much because I've gone on and looked at what's owed on it, like the back taxes, and I feel like I could pick it up for around 10 or 15,000
Yeah.
maybe. And I mean, it's a tiny house on a tiny lot, but it could be really cute. And
Yeah.
I'm
nice.
like, and I talked to Rylas Dana about it, and he's like, "No, it's not worth your time." Okay, well, that was really not the answer I was looking for. Like, I just wanted to know how does one go about this, especially since it hasn't been probated. So if you pay out the tax liens, and I think what I've read is that after 10 years, then you can actually buy the property. I don't really know or understand the whole process, but
Yeah.
that's just that's just
Well,
kind of what I figured out on
yeah,
my
definitely
own.
one to I'm going to try to stay on top of that one and see what we can do for you. And obviously it gets complicated. I mean, at the end of the day, go stake your claim, because if nobody's there, there's so many other ways to do. I forget like what the rights are. Like if somebody hasn't touched their lot or their land and you've staked it, you could technically take it back within a certain amount of time. So that's why if you guys own land out there, you should have somebody managing your land to make sure nobody is like putting their manufactured home on it and then now staking claim to it once it's been deserted for so long. So
Wow.
yeah. Cool. Well, thank you,
Well,
Julie. We'll have to stay on top and see like what you find out about this one. I would go with what Rylas is saying though, because he's not just an investor; he's a probate attorney, and usually his feedback is pretty spot on.
Is
well, there
that
has to be a legal way to do it, but I don't know what that is. That's what I was trying to find out.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Julie.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Nice talking to you.
And then we have Joel. Hey, Joel. What's happening?
Joel from Dallas. What's up?
Yes, sir. Hi, Ingrid and Chai. So I wanted to talk a little bit today. Like yesterday, so I was on Sam Singh's podcast early yesterday. He was giving me some good guidance yesterday to get more focused and reel out a bit. So I think
You
I
were on
should
his podcast, you said?
Sam's yesterday. Sam Singh.
You were on his podcast.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're
he was
cutting out.
giving some guidance yesterday.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So on that note, I wanted to so they gave me a deadline to choose yesterday on what to be focused more on now, because the past 2 years everywhere I was. So I'm thinking I had to come down to acquisitions, but same time I know so many people, and the connector part is what I'm feeling good at. But I feel acquisitions you learn a little bit better. So on that note, is like um, I feel like creative now is it's getting harder to explain to agents. So I mean I love building relationships too. So I'm feeling like I'm going to be more focused with agents outreach at the moment. So on the agent outreach part, I want to like get a little bit more better at it, but it's just getting harder depending on some agents to like say creative offers and especially sub 2. But I noticed cash is becoming a little bit more powerful there. Like everyone is buying like more cash. I noticed. Even I got more cash buyers recently. So
Okay.
on that note, I'm saying is like, are you guys still doing cash? Like it's becoming like more prevalent for you guys?
Okay, Joel, I'm going to be super candid with you right now, okay? You came to ask a question, and I think you've asked at least 3. And so I do feel like you might need to consider your focus in general. Like you asked way more than what you came up here to ask, right? So which is okay. I totally can appreciate taking advantage of being up here. But the way you're communicating would not bode well with agents. So if agents is your focus,
Agreed.
you have to understand that your communication pattern, the way you speak, how confident you sound, what you want to talk about, needs to be very firm when you're talking to agents, because they do not love a shy person on the phone who may have a hard time verbalizing, and they're supposed to be
Agree.
very credible on what they're supposed to present as a solution for their clients. That's
Absolutely.
one. So if you want to work with agents, I recommend you focus on how you communicate, create some confidence in what you're communicating, and making sure you get to the point of what you're asking or telling really, really quickly, because agents have no patience. And I'm an agent. So I'm just like them. That's one.
Good.
The other thing you were asking is whether creative or cash is happening. Cash and creative happen in every single market. Some will flux where one will work more than the other, but cash will always, always work, because it's not about whether or not what market we're in, but whether or not your cash offer is matching what the market is offering. Okay. What I'm actually seeing a lot right now is short sales. Short sales are going up much more significant if anybody's bought their property in the last 2 to 3 years. If they bought in the last 2 or 3 years, they're short selling. So I'm not
Gotcha.
seeing as lucrative as deals on the creative side here in Arizona as I used to. You know, back in 22, we would see these 2, 3, 4% mortgages all the time. Now I'm seeing them in like the fives, sometimes even the sixes,
Definitely.
and people who can't get rid of them. So I'm seeing short sales uptick. But again, even in a short sale situation, I can still do a cash offer and be that person to give that cash offer in a short sale situation, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Okay. And then as far as you being a connector and acquisitions and all of that good stuff, this is your life. The great thing about your life is you get to choose what makes you happy and where do you want to focus. So again, if you want to be a connector, then you have to also be a really great underwriter, because part of what you need to do, and Chai, I'd love your feedback here, is you need to be able to underwrite a deal and underwrite who you're connecting. It's not just about the deal. As they say, it's not about the horse. It's not just the horse. It's the jockey. Like, who are you connecting? I know somebody who got themselves in a lot of trouble because they were connecting people to private money lenders, and those deals had a missing component. They weren't actually marketing them out. So I think it was like 106 deals that this pair of people bought with the goal to wrap sell them, and they had zero marketing plan for how to actually sell them.
So
I bought I bought one deal to wrap, and it was the hardest thing I've ever dispositioned.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, one wrap was really tough. If somebody's trying to do 100 of them and you don't have a marketing plan, I mean, that was doomed for failure. So
I told that person when he was at 3 deals that it's hard. Then I told him again when he was at 20. And then I told some people that this is going to blow up. And fast forward, then I forgot about the guy until someone called me that he blew up on 106. So it's still haunting us. Like, I'm still helping those investors get out of it. And I haven't been able to help one, because everything they bought is just pure
garbage.
SHIT deals, like pure.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Chai, I literally put hours into two, trying to save two, and I was not able to. So, yeah,
So
crazy.
just a couple points I would like to add, like the spot on feedback by Ingryd, like the way you ask the question, it is the problem with that is you didn't ask the question because you didn't have the question ready. You were that's called thinking out loud. Okay. So having, and I mean, this is my favorite thing I tell people every time. If you don't have the question ready, then do not like start talking. Have question ready. And then over time, the amount of time you spend on getting the question ready minimizes. Believe in it. It will improve. But spend more time on that. Don't like you don't have to like hate yourself about that. It is normal, happens to a lot of people, especially newbies. And then jumping into your problem or question with creative versus cash. Since you are in Texas, I know for the fact, because of insurance and taxes and all other things, there is more hardship in this position side of the creative deals, and because of the elections. From what I know, like I know I have a partnership in Dallas with Scott Horn. So Scott's team and us, we talk about this, and one of the feedbacks, like they have an office full of Mexicans, so they kind of know the
temperature.
current vibe. Yeah. So everyone's saying that they are going to hold off because they don't know if Trump came into power, what he will do. So they are just going to hold off on the purchasing decision. So that's what I know. I don't know how true or false it is, but we just go with the, like, we ask people directly. That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And on the cash side, a lot of people believe that now the market is coming back and interest rates might go down, even though Feds have not really announced it, because of just the feeling or the sentiment in the market. The interest rate might go down. People are just going after cash deals. That's why you see the uptick in cash deals. And I did not know about short sales, by the way. That was new.
Yeah.
So
All right, Joel. Hopefully this feedback was helpful for you.
It was very
And we'll
helpful.
catch you next time, okay?
good luck, man.
Appreciate it. Yes.
All right. And then we have another fella, Jagadish Vakati, I think.
Okay.
And hopefully I'm saying your name correct. Did I say your name correct?
You got it correct. Yeah, usually I go by Jagdish. And
Where are you from, Jagdish?
sorry,
Where are you from?
I'm from South India, Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
I think Chai, I did speak with you, or I think I met you once in Houston.
Yeah. So you don't you go by like Jag or something?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
people call me Jay. Some people.
Okay.
I like Jagadish. Like, why
Yeah.
not your full name? Let's go.
Jagdish.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I have
What's
four
up?
people call me, but anyway, straight to the point. I currently live in California. What I've been I'll be straight to the point. The amount of money I can put in deals here doesn't go far, right? On an average price is around 750, 800 on a single family home. So I'm trying to segue to what you're doing. Ingrid, if you can give me quickly about a roadmap that I can follow for next 90 days about how to get the HOA tax liquid list, calling them and get a deal in next 90 days. If you can quickly give me a roadmap, I'd like to just pursue it for next 90 days, get a feedback, and get back to you in the next 90 days and see what can be done. And
Okay.
provide the
So here's my hack so that you don't have to spend as much money. Get a best friend that's an agent in whatever market you're going to focus on. So one thing Caroline may or may not tell you, I'm her best friend agent here in Arizona. So the pre-foreclosure lists she's pulling are because I have access to them as an agent. So I get that data and she uses it to go door knock. So that's one approach you can take, which is really easy, quick, and free because I'm her friend. Two, you can actually pay for this data. What I did when I got started is I used to pay for these data downloads from PropStream. And then I would use a company called Kind Skip Tracing.
Oh, I
to do the
love that.
skip tracing. Why do I love that company? First of all, most of the skip tracing companies have the same information, but Kind Skip Tracing actually gives a portion of their profits to other nonprofit organizations. So they're like their company. Oh, Jagadish. Oh, okay. So they're a company that are going beyond like the typical capitalist, right? They're actually trying to do some good with their money. So once you have that skip traced, you can either A, call yourself, or B, get virtual assistants to call for you. That's another approach. Okay. So that's what I originally started when I got going. Chai, do you have a different approach right now that you think is working in this market?
I just wanted to mention about Kind Skip Tracing. They are on Instagram. Look for Kind Skip Tracing. Just shoot him a DM. They will. I mean, you can also go to their website, and they are super cheap. Like if all the non-profit is not your game, then they just remember they are super cheap, and I think they have a lot of data. You can just like tailored data, like a ready-made list you can download. I haven't been doing wholesaling a lot lately, but last data I pulled was that. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
your question was about 90-day roadmap for tax liens. Is that right?
I mean,
I'm
anything
sorry, HOA.
was on one. I don't want to. I mean, for the last 1 year, I was thinking about doing a burr on a multifamily in SoCal because the more price you're or price per unit gets higher. So I know this is a huge thing here.
Yeah, that's
You know, I can only do one burr. If I just fix
correct.
duplex converting to triplex, and I'm done, and I have, I'm done.
You-
I just
But by going after tax liens or HOA liens, are you looking to buy a deal and hold it as a rental?
First, I want to wholesale few, acquire cash, and yeah, for every, I don't know, maybe for every wholesales, I might.
Do you are you doing this part time or full time?
I work full time too, but I want to do on top of what I do right now. Yeah.
Okay, because wholesaling is, I mean, I don't want to discourage you, but wholesaling is not what it used to be. It is a pretty, like, it
The
takes a
grind.
lot of hustle. That's the way to say it. I don't want to say you can or cannot do it. I don't know you like from a long time to tell you if it suits you or not. But if you want quick success, like going after burr in the right places, like Midwest or Alabama, where the houses are still cheap and they do rent for a lot higher than what you think. So a 50,000 house will rent for over $1,000 in Midwest or Alabama, and I think you will be very happy because the fulfillment is what's going to keep you going.
Right.
And unfortunately, I can't say that about wholesaling guaranteed. Finding fulfillment is going to be a very hard and long road. So just want to warn you about that. So if you want to do one thing in 90 days, pick a flip in cheaper markets or pick a buy and hold in cheaper markets. And doing things virtually may not be the easiest thing, but it's easier than wholesaling. If you find the right contractor, don't go for the cheapest contractor. In fact, go for the a most expensive contractor who can be your partner. And if you are part of sub 2, you can get a lot of referrals for that. So I go for the cheapest of the cheapest contractor where I live. But then when I do remote flips, like I have a couple going on in Austin, I have a couple going on in Dallas, I pay 3 times as much, 3 times, believe it or not. And I'm okay with it because it's so much, like I don't want to take a risk until I figured out my infrastructure there.
Yeah,
So
I would echo what you're saying, especially if you're doing virtually. You're better off having an experienced partner, somebody, and then have those expectations up front to say, what are they expected to do? What are those timelines? And if those things are met, they have to be okay with a severance, like kind of like a prenup. You have to already know if shit hits the fan, how are you going to break this apart before it's
yeah,
actually to that point. So
social proof, that's the name of the game. You need a lot of social proof. Somebody's used that person for
mhm,
5, not if not 10 times before,
yeah,
and that person is also coming to you through a social proof, like
yeah,
social circle.
yeah.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, thank you, Chai, for the info. But again, I don't like flips honestly because I like to keep a wholesale is just a way of generating cash so I can buy rentals.
correct, correct.
That's the whole well, actually that's the whole behind why I want to do wholesales. If
Yeah,
I can bypass it, I would. But the whole goal for me, the end goal is to buy rentals. That's what my goal is, Nick. Uh,
yeah.
I'm going to be in contract for off market deal in California for duplex, but again,
Okay.
I get more cash to buy rentals.
You could
Well,
also,
I know somebody selling a portfolio of properties, I think in Alabama. So happy to talk to you about like Alabama and Arkansas right now for buy and hold investors is pretty solid.
oh yes.
Sure,
Yeah.
interested, Ingrid. I'll reach out to you once.
Yeah. DM me on Instagram, and then I'll connect you with the folks trying to sell those properties.
Sounds good. Quick question before we go ahead. For the pre-foreclosure, you gave me a roadmap. Is it? Do you recommend door knocking? Because I like door knocking. It's contrary to the most, but do you recommend pulling the list, skip
Here's
trade?
the contradiction, because you're saying California is too expensive,
Yeah.
and then you're saying, should I go door knock in California?
So if I have to do wholesaling, I would like to do close to where I live because I like to purchase in where I want. I like to hold. I know a few folks who can help me JV and offload them, but at the same time, I want to own the properties in California. That's my goal. SoCal.
Okay. Door knocking is never a bad idea. Why? Because it's the one thing nobody likes to do. So if you can suck it up and go door knock, it's why Caroline is having success, especially now when it's 105 degrees outside in Arizona. Do you think people are going to be attracted to going door knocking right now?
Yeah, no, don't.
No, nobody wants that. I mean, the nasty, sweaty pits that come from it. I promise you, nobody wants a door knock right now. So, yeah, if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to go door knocking, it's always a good idea.
Yep. All right, sounds good. All right, I'll follow up with you in next 90 days and probably
Good
share.
luck, man. And one good, great resource in California is Noah Hoffman. I'm sorry, Noah Hoffman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
No,
I,
how-
I used to work,
I say his last name incorrect.
work
Noah Hoffman. Yeah, connect with him. Great guy.
I used to work for him as a door knocker.
Oh,
Well-
no shit. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
2 years ago when he was active. Yeah.
well, now he'll buy your deals because he's now like he's a flipper. So definitely somebody's
Yes.
to keep in your network.
Oh, that's when we connected. That's when you connected with me.
Yes.
That's nice.
In Houston, you and Munif.
Yes.
I think it's yeah, it's some event. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Good luck.
Okay.
Thanks
So,
for coming on here. Have a good one.
Bye.
Okay, so I see a couple of questions that I do want to get to. I know we started talking about short sales, and Alyssa, you cannot wholesale a short sell. It most require you to hold on to it. So the way that we've leveraged people who let us know that somebody needs to short sell is our goal is to buy it, fix it up, and then we'll JV with people who brought us the deal so that when we sell it, that's when we will pay them a form of fee. So that's a way that we worked around the fact that you cannot assign short sales. Hopefully that makes sense. And if not, if you're an Arizona agent, we are going to have a meetup next week on the 6th here in Arizona that I'll be holding in Central Phoenix. But I just wanted to make sure we got to that question.
You do the meetups regularly? Are you?
No, this one's going to be specific for Arizona agents. So kind of like the thing that Joel brought up when he came and asked his question is that like how do you convince agents? And then there's no sense in convincing them. It first with everybody, it first starts with education. So we're going to be educating real estate agents about creative finance. I don't know if you've heard of like the Cromford report, but out here in Arizona, it's a huge data specific business that gives a lot of the title companies and a lot of agents information about where our trends are. And they said that right now we're headed into a more balanced market. And because
nice.
we all got at least this is Arizona, right? And we all got like when we put a property up for sale, we're like, wait, we should be under contract in like 2 days. No,
Nice.
it's actually taking a lot longer. And the average is I think 27 days. So in order for you to be under contract, it's on average now taking 27 days. And therefore the whole process of selling your properties takes even longer, right? From beginning to end.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So that's a normal time frame. We
Oh.
got so used to 2021 and early 2022 where things were like hours between getting a signed contract, where now you're spending weeks until you get contract. But this is what a normal market is supposed to look and feel like.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Jagadish wants to know, what is your strategy you're doing right now? And technically, we were just talking about it, which is he's focusing on private money lending, right? Chai's got important text messages.
Yes. Can you talk a strategy you're doing now in terms of wholesaling, long-term hold, etc.? I mean, I'm trying to build a strategy around private money lending in a way where I want to be the mothership of all. what is the most important thing for any strategy to work? Money. And if you can master money, then you have access to everything. I used to call it, and oh, there you go, my man, Andrew Arriaga.
Up to you.
Andrew and I are trying to build some sort of underwriting community together. So, shout out to Andrew. So, going back to the PML, so PML gives you, and so this is my funny way of saying this, but it makes 100% sense. PML is a way to learn how to do a backflip with money. Like, can I do backflip at the age of 40? No. But can I do backflip with money? Yes. So that's what I want to be, and that's what I want to be known for. And I think there is so much more potential. And we discussed so many different things we can do with money, especially in real estate world. That I mean, you can just lend your money to someone and make a fixed interest, or lend your money to someone at a higher interest rate, like a more like a hard money lender model, or you can go and raise money at a lower interest rate and then deploy it in the market, or you can go to the banks and get credit lines and that you can deploy in the market, or even the best of the best strategy that we discussed is you can take investors money and then you can take that money to the banks and leverage that money to get larger credit lines and deploy in hundreds of millions if you could. But again, we are a small company. We are still building our processes. We are still finding loan officers. You may have seen my post in the morning. So one step at a time. I mean, I'm not in a rush. I like to enjoy what I'm doing. I mean, I'm having a blast. PML taught me so many things. I mean, I learned how to build a website, how to do marketing, how to collect payments from people. And now I can tell for sure how many people are interested in learning this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
because before I thought I was happy with 30 people, but then we hit 100. I was like, wow, that is crazy. So then I created a logo. I started here and then it turned into an actual logo from a designer, all kinds of things. So much fun doing this. I mean, it's not about making money from the event, it's building the community that can feed off of each other's ideas, each other's opportunities. It's amazing. And going from PML, sorry, let me see. I see you just had a class for PML. Are you still offering it? I found that. Yeah, I mean, we haven't planned when the next one's gonna be. I mean, we'll either go west or east of Houston. We don't know where. Ingryd's pushing me to go west, and I have to convince my partners to do the same. But yeah, we did have a class. That's what we were talking about. But going back to using PML as a strategy, or in general, me using a strategy, I think PML is going to hit it out of the park this year, because as Joel was talking about cash deals, and I'm seeing it too. We are seeing a lot of uptick in cash. One, because there is a rumor that the interest rates might go down. We don't know that yet. But more than that, people are used to these new interest rates. They know, I mean, they have to make peace with it at this point. They have
Well,
to start, yeah,
the 50-year average, the rates are in the sevens.
absolutely.
Again, guys, we are now normalized. What hasn't been normalized is these price points we're at. So the biggest unsure aspect of our market right now is whether or not the prices will stay where they're at. And supply is going up. So that's another thing I learned today in the Cromford report. In Arizona, normally there's this really weird bell curve that happens with supply, but it hasn't. It has just steadily gone up. So in general, we've had a lot more supply and the demand has not grabbed it off the shelf, if you will. So you're going to see a lot more stagnant properties on market. And the ones that are going to struggle to sell are the ones where maybe they needed to paint, they needed to clean up, and it's not in tip top shape.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the ones that are going to take longer. But I definitely think we should have a PML mastermind at the Mindset Manor in
Oh yeah. That,
Arizona.
that will be so cool.
Yeah,
But
that would
I
be
don't
great.
think, I don't know if we have enough room there, but I guess we can use that as a hangout spot.
It could be a
But
hangout
yeah,
spot for sure. Yeah, but there's plenty of places out here that we could do the
yeah.
PML stuff from. But I know
Even,
that. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, even if we just did online, it is so much, so many people are interested. I mean, I can't stop getting these requests to do another one. It's insane. I mean,
I
Abraham
know.
and Alexis started this. I mean, shout out to Abraham and Alexis for doing a fantastic job of building so much material, which then we added a whole bunch to it, refined it. So it was a great team effort. Like, I mean, love those guys. They are killing it in. They're not even trying to go outside of Atlanta, and they're killing it. Like we are trying to go nationwide, and we are overwhelmed with so many people contacting us. I mean, outside of Texas, we are not marketing actively. I
Okay,
mean,
I take Arizona then. Then
yes,
I'll do Arizona, you do Texas. Let's figure out how we partner.
you should come to the Saturday class. We should have there are some actions I want to take down as a group. Like Pace does elephant challenge. There is a way we can what we can do is we can call it whatever challenge, but the challenge is about calling the banks nationwide. All the bankers should feel it. Like, what the hell is happening? Why are so many people calling me? They should feel that, like, just like brokers feel it when PACE students call them. We need to become that and create opportunities for every one of us to and find bankers who will give you a credit line. There you go, chai challenge. I love that, Jagdish. Uh, and create a list of bankers who provide this credit line called note on note financing. That's what it's called. Note on note financing. And that's what we want. That's the way to get into different markets.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, going back to the strategies, I just want to say one thing, like it's like a 3 sentence masterclass, if I may.
Yeah.
Find a way to figure out the value of the property, find a way to figure out the amount of repairs for that property, and then have a safe formula to purchase. And then maybe fourth sentence would be get good at negotiating and stick to your numbers. Do not fall in love with the property and buy it because you think it looks good or you felt good or you are tired of calling. Just stick to your numbers. So learning those 3 things, like finding the value, finding repair numbers, and finding the formula for your market, that's it. That's how you're gonna be the badass underwriter.
Yeah.
That's it.
I always say go for the no.
Yes.
Go for the
I
no
know that.
because somebody's going to surprise you and give you a yes. So you should expect the no.
No, it-
Go for the no. I had somebody reach out to me about a property in Maryvale today. And they're like, oh, they got offered so much higher with this other iBuyer. And I was like, tell them to go take that. Go take that offer.
Oh yeah.
And see whether or not their offer gets adjusted. I was like, I'm confident that my number makes sense for how much I'm paying for flips right now, which is around $50 a square foot minimum. So for something that needed a good rehab. So it wasn't a lipstick. And so know your numbers because that's how you're going to keep yourself out of hot water. I've known, like, I get anxious, I get like anxiety when I see people taking deals down and I'm like, oh my God, that's the house I was going to take down. Oh my God, what did you pay for it? Oh my God, how are you going to make that work? And I get anxiety because it's somebody who I know doesn't have a lot of experience.
I know.
Like that is a future foreclosure in
It's
the
like
making.
it's like your first deal, looking at the backside of the street and making decisions. I mean, that is insane.
No, yeah, for sure. And
But
then
yeah.
I know we're going to start wrapping this up. I know that I took you hostage for a good
Oh, no worries. Yeah,
hour.
I love this. I need to start doing this more often.
Yeah.
My goal for this year is I'm just announcing it on your live that I want to to get really good at social media. I mean, whoever is listening, like social media is the way to go. Like Jagdish, I'm telling you, if you want one challenge for the next 90 days, get good at social media. Social media will solve all your problems. You don't need to become an underwriter. You don't need to find deals. Everything will be served on a silver platter if you
Yeah.
get good at social media.
Yeah. But I would argue it's
Yeah.
also then what is social media supposed to do? It's supposed to network us.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Of
supposed
course.
to be able to talk to somebody in California, and now I'm talking to somebody in Texas, right? We're all on one place. Like that's the beauty of social media. But I will say the who not how scenario is important. Oh, Michael W., I'm so sorry that you were on and then you were off. Sorry, Michael. But you still have to know some of the fundamentals to keep yourself in a safe space. So social media done right would mean that you're going to network with people that know their shit and can help you advance in your goals. So it's
Yes.
more than just being a
Oh,
name.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure. But I'm 100% with you, Chai. So we
Yeah,
should
yeah.
talk.
I mean, I was partially joking. You still need to know what the hell you are doing. You don't want to, yeah. If you
Yeah.
start talking, like social media can like bring your flaws up very fast if you don't know what you're
100%.
doing.
Yeah. Well, Chai, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Like out of nowhere, I'm like, come
Oh, I
on
didn't know this was a podcast.
back. For
But yeah,
sure.
great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, I appreciate you, and I love that. You're a good friend. I could call you at 11 p.m. or I could call you at 6 a.m. You
Yeah.
answer my calls, and
My wife just asked me, "Oh, why Ingrid's not here?" She thinks like, I mean, I told her like Ingrid probably is coming, and if she comes, we need to reserve a room for her because we had a bunch of people coming in, and I had committed you like, yo, you have to stay at my house. But next time.
I can't wait to meet you. Let's figure out a date. I really would love to meet your family. My kids are now out of school, so we can leverage this time. But
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
yeah, for sure. So thank you so much, Chai. Thank you for everything you do to the community. I know that you help with underwriting and stuff too, and now you're expanding out your private money lending. Hopefully, we can partner up in Arizona because
Yes.
my end goal, like in all the experience I'm gathering right now and all the things I'm working up to is to be a private money lender, like long term. Having properties and all of that, it's really more for like a tax mitigation plan. But my goal is like, how do I look at more deals and then how do I lend money out?
I'll
Like,
end with one analogy. Like you have these, like I look at my business as like doors. The door. Sorry, hold on. So we have when we started wholesaling, it was like one door was open for the opportunities to come in. But then we were like, oh, why not? Why don't we do flipping? So another door opened, but it's still a small door. But then we moved on to doing wraps and then so on and so forth. Airbnb, they were all like small doors. But I feel like PML has opened such a huge door that now I'm moving all these opportunities to my PML door first. And then if the PML doesn't work out, then I open other doors and then ask people to come through that door. But for you, if your focus is flipping, that's like your main business. But if you cannot buy a flip, then you take the PML card out. And then, hey, okay, I understand you can make more assignment, but why don't I make you even more money by showing you how we can take this down together? So I feel like it's just another way to be able to do the deal or make it happen. So with that being said, I mean, I know we got we had a long chat, but we'll talk more.
all right. Well, I love you, Chai. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there. Check out my link tree for things that are coming up. We have a mastermind coming up in August. We have the real estate agent meetup coming up next week. And then I'm sure when Chai chooses a date of when he's coming to Arizona for his private money lending mastermind, it'll be on my link tree too in the future.
Yeah,
So,
thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you. And Chai, how can people get a hold of you?
Can I type my Instagram here somewhere?
Yeah, for sure.
Where do I type it? Hide chat. Oh, shoot.
Do you see where it says private chat on the right hand side?
I got it.
And then I'll copy and paste it into the comments. So make sure that you're following Chai on Instagram, I assume, because one of his goals, and he has the money, guys. He's Mr. Moneybags Chai. So make sure that you follow him. And next time you have a deal and you need money for your deal, go follow Chai. So here we go.
Thank you for the shout out. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go.
That was pretty spontaneous podcast. I love it. Next time we'll plan something.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And see you guys next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Arizona time.
Thank you, Ingryd.